Just want to move on with this debate, and right about now, we want to look at the governance of the city. And I'll just come to you, Mr. Nyamwamu. The extension of deed of transfer of functions that was signed between the Nairobi City County and the national government elapses on the 24th of August, of course preceded by a 3-month extension period to tackle what is called the transition. If elected governor, how do you plan on handling this transition, and also how do you seek to sustain the relationship between the national government and the county government, and which areas will you be doing that on?
Is this in relation to the NMS?
Yes.
First of all, we shouldn't be having NMS running Nairobi County to begin with. That's not how our democracy was set up. We're supposed to be ruled. It's supposed to be by the people. It's the people supposed to decide. They elect somebody, and that person runs. They give the person the mandate to run the county. Now we have NMS, and my hope is when I get in, we'll have a transition for them to. We'll have a laid-down transition for them to exit, and let the Nairobi County be run by the elected officials. It had a lot to do with the previous governor, but now when we get in, we are making sure that the NMS will hand over the function to the county government so that it's run by the duly elected officials. That's how our democracy is set up, and that's how we are going to work.
Your time is up, but I'll add you 30 seconds. Nairobi is Kenya's capital.
Yes.
And also it is like the headquarters.
Yes.
Do you want to tell me it's not important to have a relationship between these two levels of government, the national government and the county government, considering the fact that it is the capital of the entire country?
The county has its own, they have their own responsibilities. Why should Nairobi be partly run by the NMS while Kisumu, which is also another county, is fully run by a governor? I don't think that's fair. Our mandate dictates that you let the county be ran by the person that's been duly elected. I understand why the NMS was there, but that's not how our democracy is set up. Why should Nairobi be chosen to be run by NMS and not Migori, for example?
Okay, your time is up. Herman Grewal, the law under Article 187 anticipates cooperation between the national government and the county government. And we have spoken about the NMS and how it came about. Would you have done what the ex-governor did in handing over 4 key functions to the national government?
Well, if you look at the history of NMS and why it was created, first of all, I would like to thank His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta for pushing for the creation of NMS, because he saw that Nairobi was in a state of chaos. And it was the sort of emergency response we needed. I'm sure all of you can agree, if you look at the success of NMS, it's something that we can be proud of. NMS has accomplished what the governor is supposed to accomplish. And NMS was a substitute for the governor, meaning that we need to move back into our normal state of operation. And we had the separation of powers so that we can allow elected leaders for certain areas be in charge of those areas. If we elect someone for a county, it would not be fair, just, or constitutional to have the president be running that county entirely. There must be collaboration, and we will transition in a peaceful and positive way.
Okay, your time is up, but I add you 30 seconds for clarity. And there seems to be no response to my question, and I need clarity on this. If accorded the mandate by the people of Nairobi County, would you have done what the former governor did at State House in February 2020?
I feel that given the situation we were in at the time, it did make sense, but it did happen because of the governor's actions. So I feel that if I'm responsible as a governor, I wouldn't allow us to reach that state. But if we are in that state, we must be responsible as leaders and say, I've made a mistake. I'm not delivering as a leader. And take a step back so that our country can prosper. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Nancy Mwadime. How do you plan on sustaining the relationship between the two levels of government, considering the fact that you're vying on an usawa kwa wote party ticket, assuming the government is taken over by somebody who, a party that is not in your political camp? What will you do and how will you sustain this relationship?
I'll be able to maintain the relationship because the two bodies, the national government and county government, we need one another, and each body has its own role to play. The national government, the county government, because even some of the assignments which are done by the county government work in relation with the national government. So what I would say is that I'll maintain the relationship, and where necessary, we shall work together. And at times, for example, with NMS, I would say that the county government, with a good leader, we have all what we need in the county government. We have workers from top, from the engineers to the accountant to the officers. So what I would say that with good leadership, the county government can be able to manage.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Okay. Esther Waring, I come to you. And owing to the importance of the close cooperation needed between the national government and the counties, because the understanding is that the two levels of government are meant to provide services for the people of the Republic of Kenya who hold the sovereignty under Article 1 of the Constitution. What will be your approach between the relationship between State House and City Hall?
Well, a leadership of a nation, even though it has different bodies, is still one, because the objective is for the interest of the people who have the sovereign power. So I see that in partnership and consultation, we can really work, the county government and the State House, because everything that is done, the functions could be different because of devolution, but it is workable with partnership. Let me give an example. The county government holds the EAC level of education, but that does not stop a county governor to be in partnership with the national government to build a school. So I find that it's more of a consultation and partnership over leadership, and that will work.
I add you 30 seconds, and clearly then tell me, the education docket is budgeted for 520 billion, lion's share of the country's financial year. There are some roles which are devolved, others aren't. How do you draw that very thin line as to what you will accomplish in terms of education?
You see, we have plans that involves the people, the partnership to be also drilled down to the people, the NGOs, and even stakeholders. It is possible to even be able to meet the target of what you're doing. It's more of partnership that will work, and involving the people also to be partners, stakeholders.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, so we want to move this forward to the issue of living and working conditions for the residents of Nairobi. Mr. Nyamwamu, I see you have an issue you want to raise.
Yes.
I'll give you 30 seconds to address that.
I just want to talk about this NMS county government thing. NMS is being headed by a military guy. Now, the government should act as an oversight it should be the oversight role in terms of overseeing what the counties are doing. But devolution was there to bring services closer to the people, and that's why we have devolution. So when we bring the government to come and actually get involved in the devolution functions, we are treading a very dangerous line. When Hilton started, he started very nicely. He delivered services to the people. Over time, it has been shown, military rule takes over, and they suppress
Your time
democracy.
is up, but taking you back to when this happened on the 25th of February 2020, vying for this position, I want to believe you understand where the county was and the state at which it was being operated at that time. What would you have done different? What would you have done different aside from just signing that deed of transfer of functions?
Well, first of all, it starts from the governor that was elected and the deputy governor that's seeking a gubernatorial position right now, who was part of that system, and the senator who was supposed to be overseeing. They all failed. So then the government has to be like, Nairobi's in a mess. We need to take over Nairobi, or Nairobi will be in a mess. But that's not how our democracy was set up.
How would you have cleaned that mess, Mr. Nyamwamu?
Hey, collect garbage. The garbage was terrible. That was the function of the governor. Give electricity, provide electricity in the informal sectors. Get rid of the cartels. That's what the governor was supposed to do. And his deputy governor and the senator was supposed to oversee that function. All three failed. That's why the government stepped in. But all in all, what I'm trying to say, the basic framework of our democracy is not set that way. We set a very dangerous precedent if we continue this path.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nyamwamu. And just an understanding in terms of this specificity, you have raised a very important and a pertinent question as to garbage in the city.
Yes.
Do you understand Nairobi County?
Yes, I do. I played in this city.